So Sally, I'd like to begin with you. How did you get involved in this? What were your views? Why did you hold the views you did? Why did you do what you did? Yeah. And were you surprised by what happened?
Yes, to all of that. Well, I'll try to make this brief because I don't want to hog the whole thing here. I got involved in this. It was Friday evening, late afternoon. I was in the car on the way to the airport on Friday, January 27th. And I had actually just finished a meeting at the White House on what's now known on the Mike Flynn situation. And I was in the car going back for an event honoring my husband the next night. I got a call from my principal deputy. During the time that I was holdover as acting attorney general, I was able to keep one of my assistants that had been there before, and the rest of the political appointees are Trump appointees at this point. And so it's about 5 o'clock or so, between 5 and 6, and Matt calls me and says, "You're not going to believe this, but I was just on the New York Times website, and it looks like the president has instituted some sort of travel ban." That's how we found out about it at the Department of Justice. Read about it on the internet. Well, I'm on my way to the plane. I've got my iPad. I'm furiously going on there trying to figure out what it is. I go ahead and get on the flight to go back to Atlanta. Happily, we had Wi-Fi, so I'm literally going online to try to find a copy of the executive order so we could get some sense of what this was. And so over the course of that weekend, it was a whole lot of trying to figure out what the heck is this thing and to whom does it apply? Because at the time that I made my decision, it was the first executive order, not the second one that Neil is litigating now. And at that time, we were getting conflicting signals, but when the music stopped, the White House told us that yes, it applied to LPRs, lawful permanent residents, people with green cards. They would not be allowed to come back into the country even though they had legal status here. It applied to people with visas. So we spent most of the weekend trying to figure out sort of what is this and what are they trying to accomplish here. And over the course of the weekend, the very next morning, we had to have people in court defending actions that had been filed by various plaintiffs around the country. And so until we could get a handle of what this was and whether we thought it was lawful, my instructions were you can defend on procedural grounds, meaning if a case has been mooted out because someone is admitted, you can defend on procedural grounds, but we're not going to take a position on the constitutionality until we have a chance to actually figure out whether we think this is constitutional. So come Monday morning, I learned that the next day we are going to have to take a position on whether it's constitutional. So we gathered all of the folks who were involved in this at the Justice Department in my conference room, and that included the Trump administration appointees as well as the DOJ career people, civil division people and otherwise, that were involved in this litigation. And I had gone through, this is all happening so fast. I'm literally going online to find briefs and challenges to see what the challenges are to the travel ban. And we went around the table with my asking them, all right, tell me why you think this is lawful. How are we going to defend this? And without revealing sort of our internal discussions here, at the end of that, I was not comfortable that it was in fact lawful or constitutional and kept the senior Trump appointee back to tell him that I was very uneasy with where we were and that I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then went back in my office and thought about it more and talked with a few people and came ultimately to the conclusion that our defending this travel ban would require me to send lawyers of the Department of Justice into court to say that this ban had nothing to do with religion. It was all based on national security, nothing to do with religion. And I did not believe that to be a defense that was grounded in truth. And I couldn't send Department of Justice lawyers in to defend something based on a defense that I did not believe was grounded in truth, which then left the dilemma of, okay, so do you just resign at this point then, or do you direct the department not to defend the travel ban? And I confess to you, this is again all happening in a very compressed period of time. This is Monday afternoon now. I went back and forth on that. There's certainly an argument, and I understand that some people think that I should have just resigned. But sort of the bottom line on that is that I didn't feel like I would be doing my job if I just essentially said, I'm out of here. You guys figure this out. It's up to you to go in there and to make a defense that at least we were not comfortable was grounded in truth, but at least I won't be part of it. That would have protected my personal integrity but I didn't believe that it would have protected the integrity of the Department of Justice, and it wouldn't have been doing my job. So I issued a directive to the Department of Justice, unless and until I was convinced that it was lawful, that the Department of Justice would not defend the travel ban. That was late in the afternoon, and not surprisingly, I got a memo, or actually a letter, about 9 o'clock that night, firing me. So that was that.